Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. And today I have a real treat with you, for you, with Jenny Lee. She's gotten some messages from upstairs that she would like to share with us, as well as her perspective. Boy, can I talk today? As well as her perspective on what's happening, current events, and so on. So let me bring her on. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, how are you?
Hey. Great. I guess I didn't mention, for any of those that don't know you, you are a psychic medium, a remote viewer, and a seer, and an author. Author
Yep.
too, right? Yeah. Okay. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I'm actually this Monday, where me and my co-author is starting writing the new book, and I think it's going to take us probably 6 months because we're thinking it's going to be like that thick.
Oh,
on this
wow.
the second one. So, and it takes a while. I mean, a lot of people just pump out books, and
I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
I just want it to stick for a while. I don't want to. I want them to remember. And I think the one I wrote in 2017, I think that stick pretty well. So now I'm moving on to the new
The
one.
Walking in Humble Spirit.
Yeah, that one was in 2017. So we're
Yeah, I
moving
like
on
that one.
to
That's nice.
a good one. So yeah. So we are in these times, in these days, aren't we?
Yes, we are, and it's kind of like a roller coaster ride in a lot of ways, and people are processing a lot of emotions, and old stuff, and wondering what the heck is going on, and will we ever be told anything that's truthful?
Well, everything's in codes now.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you might want to explain that.
Yeah, everything's in kind of, you're basically everything's in code. So there's really, you have to understand code. Um, so the thing is with the public, when something is trying to occupy you, which the media is very good at occupying you, to keep your distraction on that versus where it should be. And we're in that present time and day within the last 24 hours to distract us. So I would definitely be looking at other places of what's going on in the world. Because I really believe there's a lot of stuff that's happening. And I think, we're hitting around 9/11. And I think that's going to be turning into a good symbol versus a bad symbol of understanding. So I think that has to do with a lot of our dinero that will change for that.
Well, things should really move along now with what's recently happened in the last 2 days, even though many of us know that it happened long before that, but it's just first being brought to everyone's attention.
Right. And that's the thing about it. But within the last 24 hours, you're still seeing so many people that are dead asleep. And they are so dead asleep. They're, not paying attention to anything. And I think people are really shaking their heads going, yeah, I don't think they're going to wake up. It's just not going to happen. And I think we're at that point that they've kind of chose their lane. And that's just the way it is. You just have to accept it. It's at a free will point of information.
Do you think there's any possibility that with more photonic light, which is activating more and more of their DNA, that they should be able to see more and more truth as time goes on, giving them greater opportunity to wake up?
No. I'll tell you why. Because Spirit told me a long time ago.
Okay.
Because they told me there are 3 levels of veil of understanding. And there's that lower frequency level. And they always said that lower frequency level, Jen, will never make it. And then you have the ones that have turned into paying attention, looking for information, looking to be enlightened and develop themselves and starting to, they're awake. And then you have the higher frequency people that have always been in there. So that lower of understanding, it's hard for man to accept that. But and within the 24 hours, this shows the example that that's where we're going. I mean, there's only so much you can drag it out. There's only so much long you can, push it to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that we can't no more.
Kind of like slow pay.
Yeah. So, so I think we're at that point. So now I think it's time putting time into yourself, putting time into the information you need to know, and planning for the future.
Hey, look at this one here. The Schumann Resonance has been in blackout for days. What do you know about that? Do you know anything about that, Jenny? Have you been told anything?
Probably because it's something I don't pay attention to. People will say, and I go by energy. Because I don't pay attention to, only have to put it in front of my face to know that I have to look at it. Mm-hmm. So to me, the Schumann Resonance, I think before we go into a completely different energy, like everything else, something has to shut down, and that something behind it is going to start up. That's what I think it is. Completely. So it's a positive aspect, but it's when you dismantle something and then you realign it and it's comes back on, you're going to notice a completely different energy. And I've already told people that are awake that they need to start having their safe area in their house, because Spirit told me it's like what you saw, a meditation area, because they're showing me there's going to be vibrations, there's going to be sounds, it's going to be kind of overwhelming, even the ones that are awake, to keep you balanced. So it's good to have that in your home, because I think they understand that there's energy coming in, but I don't think they really understand how much is coming. Because yesterday was a day that I felt like when I was walking, I felt all this weight. And I'm going, what is going on? I feel like I'm 80 today. It just felt, and then
heavy, like I'm going up the stairs. I thought, like,
yes,
oh my God, what's wrong with me?
What is going on? So, and then, and that's why they warned me about it. They're like, get in that space because you're going to need to stay there when this happens, because you're going to be like, good grief. Because, more towards that self-combustion beings, where it's going to self-combust. Some of it's going to happen. So you got to have a safe space.
Are you talking about people combusting?
I wouldn't say people.
Oh, okay. Well, that's happened in the past. I mean, it's pretty bizarre, but
it does happen. But I think there was a little more stuff involved in that happening. But
okay, good. We don't want people exploding.
No, I don't. I definitely don't think it's people.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we just need to clarify that. We don't want to freak anyone out.
Right. So yeah, it's pretty interesting though. But and I think it's hard because in this lifetime, a lot of people haven't dealt with that type of energy going up that high, and it's your system inside you can handle it, but not where your whole system is dormanted on not understanding energy. And as a human, you're just going to freak out. So, and the ones that are been working with this, understand the energy, are just going to flow with it, because
so we want to go with the flow. People should go with the flow. If there ever was a time to go with the flow, it's
yes, exactly. You better be flowing.
Yeah.
So
follow the water.
Right. Right. So yeah, I mean, you're going to deal with some difficult wave frequencies that are going to come in.
So these frequencies, are they going to, or you think they're going to be affecting our moods in various ways, or
Yes.
knock us right off our feet?
Do you know it? You know, it feels like I told enlightened people. It feels like your soul and your higher frequency and your higher self is like, we're exiting. We're going to get out of this vessel. And it's like testing it of when it exits. You know what I'm saying? Because we're outgrowing the physical water, bone, and tissue
Carbon
process.
base.
Yes. That's, and I think it's showing you that there's a exit way of getting out of it when we go into these new steps of things. And
So it sounds like your spirit's transitioning out of this avatar. Is that
right?
But I thought we were keeping this physical avatar. That's what others have said. So
That's what others have said, and it's a touchy subject. But I don't know about you, but I don't want this physical, blood, bone, water in another place, and imagine, just space in general. We can't even go up in that process and even going down deeper into water. There's no way that we are going into a higher vibration with a body. I believe that we'll go through a transformation stage because we are, environments. Our spirit turns into these environments. We are a spirit. And then I believe that we are going to be able to pick our own vessel into the 4D and the 5D.
So it might
I do not believe that the vessel is going to be a physical process like the flesh. It's not going to be. And who would want it? Anyway.
Well, I would certainly want mine upgraded and improved.
Yeah, but
and aged reversed as well.
Right. And that's normally not in a flesh vessel.
Well, what kind of vessel do you envision?
Well, I mean, if you want to do an example, you look at a lot of these versions of aliens. You don't see an alien overweight, do you?
No, you sure don't.
You sure don't. You don't see them eating, at a buffet place or anything like that. I'm just saying, you don't see them sleeping. You don't see them having sex. I'm just saying, this is something we were talking about yesterday in a reading.
Everything's going to change.
Yes. I mean, so here's a lower understanding of, just say, a human being walking up to a ship and they got their beer and they got their marijuana and they got everything. Hey, and they're going to go, no, sorry. Those are not going. You know what I'm saying? So our actual concept of thinking how it's going to be is completely wrong because our flesh needs, sorry, no cars. You can't take your hot car. All those things that you think are important.
You won't need a U-Haul when you're exiting.
Yes, exactly. And so start detaching yourself from those items because that is not important. It's not important. And if that's important to you, then you really haven't done your work. So yeah. It's funny though, but it's true. Because we like to think that we have to have all this stuff for security and make us feel good. And it's like, no, we don't need nothing. Let's go in empty-handed and allow this energy and presence to be in the now and not be afraid of it.
That need for security is something that has been programmed into us through their fear frequency that they keep on us 24/7.
Right. Exactly.
So that's
right. We're outgrowing it. Some of us are. But I mean, in like the community way, like I'm trying to get people to understand, it's having things together as a community, taking care of each other and not needing the excessive stuff. Do you understand? If you're content, you're balanced in everything that you have, and that's what I think 4D and 5D is. that's a blessing that everybody has everything they need to survive, to
Well, some
live.
people think they need a lot more than what they actually have or actually
Right.
really need.
I'm going to be glad when, like, total income, which they think money's important, is just the same amount across the board. You know,
Boy, how are they going to handle that, huh?
I know they're like, no, my money.
Oh,
Who
no.
cares? Who
How can they?
cares?
They'll be trying to think how they can steal it from somebody else. That's
I know they can't do that either. But so, I mean, I don't think people, and I mean the spiritual teachers, and they're not developing their students into understanding that. They're still thinking, pushing products, and I mean in a big way. You know what I'm talking about, like every 2 minutes, and we got to
I
get
hate
them.
it when people start that with a video when they start out and they're trying to sell something right out the gate. I can't do it. I can't do it. Even though I need the resource, I just can't do it. Because I think about, I hate it when that happens when I'm trying to watch something.
Right.
So, I don't
And
want
it
to do
just
that.
bothers everybody. Just like, let me just share the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, well,
But
that was never the point of ever doing any of this, but it does cost
right.
money. It costs well over $200 for me to be able to do this.
Right. But I'm not talking about
monthly.
You're not putting it like every 2 minutes. Push this product. And you know that half of them don't like the products. You know what I'm saying? You know that. So there's a balance of it, but overly doing it, overly indulging, it takes away from the experience of the information.
And that, and then you have to, when I started my channel, I mean, you can go back and look at some of my very first videos and probably get a good laugh. But the fact is, there was no request for donation. There was no request. There was nothing. I wasn't selling any product, any of that. That developed over time because of the cost of what I'm doing. But anyway,
right.
So it's been a full-time job that I volunteered for and that I don't get paid for. So, I can understand why sometimes people want to ask for something. But anyway, let's not, it's not about me anyway. So, but I know exactly what you're saying. You were talking about earlier too, about someone saying something about, these people that are channeling and feeling all like they're mourning for this thing that
this Geico.
Yeah,
Geico icon, yes. Yes, and they're in their own illusion. They have created an illusion because they accepted this illusion because they were programmed and taught that that is the true and that is pure. When it's not pure, it's not good. It's not even righteous.
Even nice.
It's not nice at all. It bites.
Yeah, exactly. And be careful.
I'm just saying, but as it does, it bites hard. Yeah. So it bites hard, and
grab your kids and run.
Yeah. Really. Too extreme, right? And so, so I often wonder what those little dogs have seen, but once in a while. But yeah, I mean, that whole perception is like presented in a way that they presented, okay, this is the time and this is the date. When we know that's not the time, that's not the date that it happened way back then. If you were paying attention, you would know that happened already. That demise of that has been over and done with. But they believe in the boob tube programming, and they're appraising and giving thanks. And the thing that bothers me, like you saw this post this morning I did on Facebook.
Yes.
And these are supposed to be,
I liked it.
Yeah. These are supposed to be mediums, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to know whether something is alive, passed on. But I'm thinking, now you're praising this Geico process, and I would be like, I said, well, why don't you just tap into the children that have been hurt by this? That's if a real medium would, venture into that. But that the point is, like I've called it out many times, we're in a field where a lot of them are just entertainers.
Yeah, false light.
Yeah, they're not looking, they're not diving into the information, not really interpreting the real ability. They're just going along with the program.
Don't want to rock the boat.
Right. Nope, I don't do that. But so, and people are like, oh, how can you just talk about that and say that? I go, well, if you read the book, my book it says it in my book about what I feel about the true ones that are doing the work, putting their time and energy, their effort every day is trying to get people to get the right information, not to be entertained, not to sell tickets. You know what I'm saying? But this is a case where would really tell you the difference between someone that's a true medium and it's not, because I would be turning around and tuning into a children to see what they would be saying, and they're not doing that.
That's what they should be saying. I mean, that's what they really should be doing. I couldn't agree more with you. I'm wondering, someone put this in the chat, and I'm wondering if I don't know what an Arthurian humanoid is. Do you?
Nope. You
Okay,
ask them to do a different name, because I never heard of a Arthurian humanoid.
Tim Potter says, and I agree with him 100%. Lack of money restricts us. Mm-hmm. Love of it is the root of all evil, and that's what has happened to so many people. They've become so materialistic that their things mean more than the people in their lives.
Yeah, that kind of goes into what I was talking about with the word clones, and how I got the download for spirit and telling me the dismantle of it and how they're broken down clones, and they have no 7-Eleven to go to no more and get things fixed. And those are no longer there. And so when things break down, they're showing me they're just going to start to melt off like a rotten cabbage. And you're going to see some bad makeup jobs, to cover that up. So something
damage control.
It's going to be bad, though. So no doctors for AI stuff or anything like that. So it's weird because we're around Halloween. So if you're paying attention to it, people are going to think, well, that's a great costume. Well, that's not a costume. I'm really falling apart here, So there's nothing I can do, and I have no 7-Eleven to take it to get it fixed. Wow. So those home remedies.
Yeah, they are. Well, I was just going to say, somebody mentioned, and I put it up there, that the media is going down because they've been lying to us so much about everything. If they would just tell people the truth, maybe it just
right. So they talked about that too, and they said the glitches in the boob tube in front of you, where you're seeing half of somebody's appearance, and then the other half looks completely like dimensional, that it doesn't look like a human component at all. And those glitches are going to be in front of you. It's like half of it is dismantling and it's going in and out, and you're starting to see a different appearance.
So the people that are hiding, the shapeshifters that are hiding behind veils or
right.
whatever you want to call it, mask, whatever, that that's going to dissolve right in front of your face.
Right.
Woo-hoo. That should be exciting.
So I would say those are major broadcasting glitches, that you're seeing and looking at and analyzing. And trust, I am pretty sure the YouTube community are going to be analyzing when they start to see this stuff break down.
Yeah. Kind of like having those glasses on that they had in the movie They Live. Only you don't need the glasses anymore.
Well, I'm starting to think that these clones are going to start to look like, I don't know if that movie, I can't remember the alien movie where the guy steps on a cockroach and then he gets mad because that's his relative, and his face is just dropping off. So I think, we're.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I saw that
There's not,
one.
and they talked about the smell too, the profound smell of them, and how it's a different kind of smell and stench when something's dismantling and stinking. So
Well,
there's
yeah, and they
smells with it
have,
too.
don't they eliminate their waste within
All I have to tell you
whatever?
is what they said. And the smell is bad.
Yeah.
So
People
how it
used to,
ever, and it's, um, I don't know. My nose could take a certain amount of smell, but when it's something new and that stinks like that, you're going to raise your eyebrow and wonder what the heck it is. So,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know.
Well, it's like we're going to be in for many surprises. Even those of us who think we're kind of awake, we might still be quite surprised by what we find out as time goes by. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, the true sadness, the true truth, when that is seen in a different way that's not limited, uh, their souls have to accept that in front of them. In these visions, and of course, a lot of people go through denial of seeing it or backing away or not wanting to talk about it, don't bring it up. Everybody has different denial stages, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
That's
we
kind of like when
probably.
you might have seen something and you don't want to tell anybody because they'll think you're nuts or they think you're hallucinating or something like that. So as that happens to more and more people, they're going to have to.
Right. But this is the thing, how I would reflect on it is how we let our children, the most innocent thing that's on this planet, down.
Oh my God, yeah.
That is the biggest thing, because if we can't save that, if we can't um, let them be safe in the innocence that they are, there's nothing left. There is really nothing left.
What kind of
No.
species
Mm-hmm.
doesn't protect their young?
Right. And that is, I think, um, worldwide, universal wide, it's protecting your own and making sure it's
Well,
safe.
here's the problem is that people, I don't know if it's mind control or just, I know someone mentioned in the chat, ignorance is bliss, um, or why they don't know that what's been happening to the children. They don't even know. I mean, you can tell them, well, 8 million children go missing every year across the planet. I think it's 8 million or it's 800,000. But that's, I think, for the United States. But either way, an outrageous number of children missing, gone every year, and never found again. And then they find these. They have these different places where there are grave sites, and I mean, what's it take to get people to pay attention to something like that? What's it take?
Because it's a narcissistic society and it is about them. And we are missing empathy, people's placement of empathy, of looking at something, being concerned, and stepping away to do something for someone else. I mean, it's just keeping you occupied in what you're supposed to be the priority of doing, and that's bad. It's bad. Going out of your way to make sure some being animal is okay, and we're not doing that anymore. We're not looking at the full picture. We're only picking and choosing what we decide is important, and that's where we went wrong.
Well, to any of you in the chat or listening at this time, trust me, I've been called a conspiracy theorist for well over a decade. I lost at least one teaching job because of it. But anyway, I question everything, and and I don't just believe everything it might appear, but I'm always open to learning and finding and getting new information. The thing that bothers me the most now is deciphering between is it true, or is it false, or is it
Right.
misinformation?
Or is it entertainment?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a hard misconception to purposely to confuse you. And the true ones that really dig and do the research, and they'll do it for days and days and search. And then when they do that and they do put it out there, people are like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
But those are the
Where's
ones that
your
haven't done
evidence?
anything.
And then they want you to do.
Anything.
Then they want you to do the research for them, in addition to what you already did. And another thing is, if you've been doing this or following any of this for anywhere from a decade or so, at least, it's hard to bring someone up to speed,
Right.
with everything that you've learned without overloading them.
Right.
And so it's as things move along and people are being forced to wake up, that's when they'll be turning to many of us that they thought were conspiracy theorists, because they would be, oh, wait a minute, you were talking about that, weren't you?
But this is what I actually think. Because I think people, when they make mistakes or they didn't see things the right way, they're opening to listening to your version of it when they have just a understanding. They're like, maybe I'm not right about this. But you can't find those people hardly anymore, because I guarantee you, even when this happens, the people that finally have to accept it, they're going to hide in their house and they're going to tell you, don't you talk about that. I don't want to talk about that subject. I'm just telling you, they're still going to be in denial because they don't feel that they need to be reminded that they were wrong. And that's most of your Democratic Party across the board.
You know what? That is so true, because people are still having trouble crossing that bridge when something happens after that program that didn't work, to actually still not see the connection. How can you not see the connection?
Yeah, and then you're seeing these mortuaries. They've never been busy as they are to this day. I mean, what they used to do in a year, they're doing in a month.
Exactly. And they
And
just
because
ordered.
it's not in their face, but they're deceased left and right. And right.
They've had undertakers come out and say that they have ordered more children's caskets than they have in years. I mean, added together. So it's really bad.
Yeah, and just imagine what they have found in England. It's pretty bad.
That was funny. Yeah.
But still, she's so great. No, she's not. But yeah, Geico.
Yeah, Geico's not great at all. Geico should have been made gone a long time ago.
I know, right? Geico. They should have. So, I mean, that's the thing we're down to. And then, like I said, another thing I want to talk about is Illinois. They're using an example of the city, what they're not going to do, what law enforcement's not going to do. And I think I told you that's Illinois, New York, or California. Those are going to be the example of how they're going to contain them. And I'm talking about they're going to surround these cities in fences. And you already got the police departments backing off. Now, do you think that's volunteer? I don't think so. I think there's a new program that's going to come in and start to be progressively put in. And there's always one city example to show you that. And when they push them all in the city, and they keep them in there, then you're going to see the example of containing these people, filtering these people, giving them money to a certain point. So I think people think that this is going to be an area where they're going to be able to have all these crimes now. That's going to cease at once. But you're not going to hear about it until those walls are up.
Those 17 cities, are those, I seen a list of cities that they anticipate great disturbances with those nasty little groups that caused great disturbances before. Now that the ding dong is dead, things are going to move forward quicker.
Right.
And
what you're going to see is higher technology coming in, seeing it in the sky, seeing it everywhere. I say these little tiny drones, and they can pinpoint and knock someone out with a one-shot concentration and knock your ass out. They don't really need to get physical. They just got to hit your butt the right way to knock your butt out. And then, so everything's going robotic. Everything is going to high technology.
AI.
So they don't have to bring physical bodies into those areas anymore. But they don't have a clue of the technology that's coming.
Well, those people that are in those areas, if they have been volunteering for the programs, they're in, and frequencies are released, they're in big trouble. And
you, like I said, you'll see people go in the cities, and then you won't see people coming out. They're going to filter them out. So I'd say this getting things for free, going in, getting things for free, that's going to end in a very abrupt way. That no officers will be physically hurt. I can tell you that.
Well, one of the things that
the new process.
Okay, this is a good point here. The Flash will knock out the AI, but in the meantime, it's still operational. So hopefully that does happen. Let's see.
Yeah, so I mean, because I think I told you in the future I don't see crime, and this is part of those steps of it not being there. But you always have to have that first example, that first city, to understand what's going on. So I guess everybody's got to witness and see it first.
What have you gotten any messages concerning med beds?
They hate that name, med bed.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I hate it. I don't like that name either.
When I get it channeled, they're like, has nothing to do with meds. And some of them you don't really lay down and take a long process nap.
Then those biospheres
frequency, too. More of a frequency interpretation of going through your whole body and filtering the areas and establishing what needs to be filtered within 30 minutes. So no meds. So, but yeah, I think partially, I think here everybody's waiting for a timeline when they come. And I believe that a lot of us that are already in the higher vibration are starting to understand that device, that process is inside us. But then when we get into higher frequency energy, that's going to align anyway. And then I feel that there are some facilities that are not using that name and won't use that name to treat the ones that they need to for the 3D understanding. And I think it's already happening.
Oh, here, frequency girl. Oops, wrong one. Frequency. It moves right when I frequency beds.
Yeah,
That's
they're
probably a
not
little better.
meds.
Yeah, not beds either, just frequency healing. Is that what you want?
Yeah. Well, frequency, because that's what it is. It's energy aligning with your system when we're detecting where the problems are and going in from head to toe and annihilating or replacing certain components.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's
So,
asking. Yeah, I don't. Somebody's asking, or Dot Connector wants to know if are there any bad med beds that are nefarious? There's some talk out there about some beds gonna take your soul.
no, I mean, of course, I don't think so. Healing pods or whatever you want to call them, but they're not even that big. I mean, the hospitals and all that stuff will be dismantled anyway, but there's no sense for it. Um, and once that's done, you know, it's over. We'll never go back to the way that was before. You'll never have a surgical process of opening a wound to go through that process that way again. It will not be a painful healing process to heal from the situation.
Some people are asking if you have any new pictures.
I'm working on them. I have this one, I can go over this. I actually was talking about this with Kent Dunn. So, can you see that one? So this is in the desert, and this is representing two different types of tornado looking process. This is a wide, going straight up, and there's a wide one. This is up by a building. And all I'm seeing is desert,
Mm-hmm.
and how they're not coming from above, they're coming from the ground. They're created in the ground. One is straight and going up like this, and the other one is wide and going like this. And they're showing me a desert area, not in our country.
So a tornado type thing is
yes, tornado, but they're
coming
different.
out of the ground. Coming out of the ground.
Right, they're different.
Wow.
So I had to do that the other day.
Somebody's asking, could it be portals?
This feels different. This feels like it's opening up from the ground up, releasing something up that's going to stay open. Releasing when something that feels pressurized, and then it feels like it's at its point because the environment has changed and how it's going to release. And it's not, I don't know, when I did the interpretation, I wasn't afraid of it because they were just like, don't look like it's coming from the sky. It's coming from the ground. So this is dry desert showing that accumulating.
Somebody said black hole. Then
no,
okay,
not a black hole.
Somebody else said, let's see, what's the next
So
one?
if I had
Are they releasing demons from the pit?
No. If you had to release something from another world that was further down in our planet that releases an energy that's and you're witnessing it, and other things could come out of that process.
So basically,
Other
it's
items,
releasing energy.
other energy, other physical beings. So you have two separate worlds, and maybe allowing an energy to open this area more, and other things will come to the surface.
Do you know anything about a transcension happening? I don't like it when anybody gives a date, but there have a couple people have given dates.
True that the transition will be on the 3rd of October.
Yeah.
Spirit does not do dates.
Thank you.
They do not, and they say it is in seasons, and see it in going up, building up to a certain date, and a checklist of things that are done. Everybody in a human concept wants to see a date. It has to do with things that are completely done. October is going to be an active season.
Yeah, Earth
September is
events
an
are
active season.
Mhm.
But as this activity keeps going, and then I think for just a little bit, there will be a calmness around November, and then it's just going back up again. So, I mean, it's literally getting used to these like waves. There's a lot to do. This isn't an app that we open and then all of a sudden it's done. It's going to take some time.
Is there going to be an ABS? Do you know? Did they talk
I
about
don't
that
think
at all?
so.
No.
They don't
What
talk
about
about it. They don't think that's going to happen, and I don't either.
what
I
about
don't
the
think we
food
need it.
shortages?
Nope, I live in the farmlands of the farmlands, and trust me, there is no food shortage. There is quality of food that has changed to the standards that the United States has changed its standards. And so those formulas and those qualities of food are really not food, and they cannot be served in
Oh, the GMO
our.
stuff. Yeah.
So that's
Right.
why when you have to exchange a big amount of that out, you're going to have a shortage. And having to bring in different brands and new stuff.
Wow.
So they're showing me that.
What about people's everybody's worried about their financial situation and it's getting worse instead of getting better. Do you see
because you're looking at it in a 3D process.
Perspective? Okay. Well, maybe there's some way that you could
what I know is what they've showed me is when something goes down and dismantles, there's something strong behind it holding it up that's stronger. And it's not paper, and it's going to stay that way for a long time, and its stamina of it is good, and the whole system of it is steady and consistent. So I am not worried about it. And if I thought that there was an issue, for something good to change, something has to be dismantled.
Yeah.
And we have to be a witness of that dismantling process.
Well, someone's asking, Virgo lady is asking if they're allowed to ask questions. Of course you are. That's what this is all about. We do like the chat is for questions. So, let's see. What else have you been told by Spirit that people might like to know about, or they would want people to know about? Anything else?
You know what if I had to talk to the public, because some of my peers and people that I work with are not accurately doing what they're supposed to be doing, but there are some that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. This is what I'm telling you, that everything that you need to connect with Source is inside you now, and that your own self has the way to connect with that. You don't need anybody else. You just need to be open to leading yourself to the truth. And you don't have to pay people thousands of dollars to get to that truth now. The whole thing with society was you had religion and everything, finances, school, everything in your way to keep you occupied, not connecting with our higher self. And now there's nothing in the way of that.
I have noticed a difference, Jenny. I have been searching things spiritually for some time, and I always felt like it was so hard to connect, and I just feel like the connection has opened up substantially.
Yeah, it's instant now.
Yeah.
It's instant. It's instant now. But there's still, Spirit says there's some disappointment because there are ones they have put on this earth to lead them And they're still, these leaders are spinning the circle, trying to get every dime they can and not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Get them to connect to me now, not 2 months from now, not 5 months from now, but now. Give them the confidence, give them the door, give them the avenue to do it. Because that's what's important. To be ahead of the game and give them the tools that they need. And it's not only that, the people that are there, that have done the work, that are leading, they're ready to show people what to do. Because they were at the same situation before 2-3 years ago. And now they're ready to lead. They're not holding it. They're not containing it. And these are the ones that are just waking up. But the ones who decide they want to confine it and contain it, they're wrong to do that. And so they need to start leading them through that door and letting the public have it. Let them have it. So that's what I would say. It's in you. It always has been. And you can do it.
Yeah, I think a lot has been released to make it much easier than it's been in the past. I really do.
Yeah. And it has been, but it's like we should be at the edge of the universe, all in line right now and being ready for this. And not pulling back and putting them in that 3D fear and thinking that's still a process that has containment and control over you. It doesn't. If
only we could all hold hands. And
right. Right. And that's, and that's the thing too, is let's just say, for example, I'm going to use different species of aliens. They look completely different on each level, green, blue, gray, or whatever. And your veil of understanding has to accept that and being open to it. And you've got to, here in your own world, got to get along with that and accept that as well. So starting to look at the soul and what the soul is doing and what's its destination and where it's going. That's how we need to look at things. Get so caught up in the flesh, which I'm glad we're getting rid of, that maybe it'll clear it away, that people can focus on the truth, the soul. And so just for an example, when that happens and, everybody wants them to come down, but are you going to accept them for what they are? Are you going to accept the way they are or how they live different? Or that's the thing we should be educating and getting them ready for that different veil of how they look and how things are different. You don't hear them talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What somebody asked in the chat, and I was just going to ask it, is they asked if, could you explain as you see it, because people do say there's a difference. What is the difference between soul and spirit?
I find the soul is more grounded and knows its identity. The spirit does. The soul feels lost and doesn't know its direction. The spirit feels like it knows its own identity and knows where it's going, where a soul is there and in the existence of a dimension or a plane, but it's not quite sure of where it's supposed to be. And that's why you just say it's a soul, but knowing its identity and understanding its environment and knowing where it needs to go.
Well, okay. What I have heard, and I don't know, is that the soul is like the personality and the accumulation of what you may or may not recall from your life, and the spirit is what actually drives the avatar. It's your higher self.
Yeah, and it has a thinking process and it knows its direction. So you can say the soul, it carries its personality. But what I experience when I see a soul, I always see it as it's confused or it doesn't know the direction to go in.
Oh, somebody just asked this question. Okay, here. There it moved just before I was able. I hate that when that happens. Okay, let's see. This Jenny. Don't your spirit look just like your flesh body?
No.
No,
No.
because well, if we've been reincarnated, who knows, hundreds of times, thousands of times, whatever, millions of times, I don't think we would have chosen to look the same every time.
No. And um I think humans think that the flesh body is so attractive and it's all important, but you're not seeing any aliens really like, I want to look like them. They never say that when I hear it. They want to look like themselves and they want to be frequency light and being able to walk into environment and change how they look. So, and we have the capability of doing that or mirroring into an environment, of having that capability to mirror into an environment spiritually. So,
Okay.
learning the power of how we turn into a filter of energy and being able to decide what we're going to be in that energy or how we're going to look in that energy. It has to do with strengthening our spirit and understanding what we're capable of doing.
So there's a lot of talk about the solar not the solar flesh.
Solar flash.
I can't talk tonight. But anyway, the solar flash, not only knocking out the AI, but also upgrading our DNA, and we will have, everybody can have like the psychic abilities that you have and that others have, and it will come more online as a result of that. What do you say to that?
I believe, so when I look at psychic ability, I believe it's always been in each one of us.
Right.
But it's decalcifying our view. Once that is completely opened, and you'll walk right into the ability. And I think walking into it is literally is trusting yourself. Because when we think or process a vision, we put doubt into it first. And to strengthen that ability, it has to do with not having the doubt that you're capable of doing. So I say fear and doubt is a perception that needs to go bye-bye.
Trusting your intuition too. I have
Right.
issues with
And
that myself.
so it's a millisecond, you won't have any doubt of what you're perceiving as that changes.
Someone mentioned this, Jenny. What do you think about that? Someone said she don't believe in the flash anymore. Do you think that there will be a flash, or that it's maybe I heard it could be a little here, a little there, or whatever. It's not necessarily. We don't know how it's going to manifest, really.
I actually think what they think the flash is that we're already in kind of an energy wave that's already coming. I guess that's a 3D analysis of looking at it that way. And it's energy entering our atmosphere and changing our atmosphere and changing how the things grow and how we interact with things and how we accept things. And the basic way is, plants and trees and roots and everything having a voice and communicating with that. I don't feel that in a fearful way. It's just your body upgrading. And this is the thing, when you're changing into that, is you're going to start to have memory of stuff that you're like, I don't remember this, but now I'm having recalls of this memory of knowing how to do something or where is it coming from. And that's allowing our higher self to come back into us and have memory of that. So it's changing us. So, so solar flare, if you fear it, you'll miss the wave of the goodness from it. If you don't fear it and you take it in a different way into your soul, I think you'll go through a different experience with it. But I really don't feel or hear fear. It's like you're a filter of energy, and how you decide, your soul decides how you're going to adapt to it, and how your frequency is going to adapt to it.
Okay, I got a new question up there. Is the Earth going to split, and if so, who goes where and which way? Like there, there's everybody's talking about a bifurcation, a
Okay,
timeline split.
repeat
I
that
got
again.
the A. Okay, is the Earth going to split, and what they mean by that, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Chestine, but they talk about two timelines, that are split timeline. One where the people that want to go AI, and the other one, the people that want to go Christ consciousness.
Um, I don't believe that's going to happen, because I believe that we're going to, again, it's not splitting this planet. Everybody, and this is I've told people everybody's going to leave this planet, and I'll tell you why. Because this planet has to go into a hibernation stage of all the damage that we have done to it. To stay here and keep going the way it is. And they think we're going to stay in the existence of it being here. They're like, no, we might be going in two different directions, but we are not staying here. We get wrapped into what's happening to us, but we're not looking at like the animals and nature and our water and our earth. It has to rejuvenate itself.
Well,
So
I have read some things. I don't know, if it's true, like based on what you're saying. I've read that there will be ships available to beam people on board, if need be, due to different, maybe things that are happening on the planet that are rather
right, there is
cataclysmic, something like that.
there is, and it's like this. As you look up in the sky, you think there's nothing there. But if your vision was different, and I've been telling people about this. I'm seeing two different views. I'll see an item, a physical item behind it, and then I see something else behind it. So my mind sight is adapting to different views, and eventually we're all going to see it, and we're all going to realize there was more above us than we ever thought there was. And so I believe that's right above us. It's just because we're seeing it in a different view, that reachable view is cloaked right now. But when it's this is the way I tell spirits: just rip off the Band-Aid and just appear all at once. And be in shock. But I think that's the best way to do it.
I'll get over it.
Yes. So they're already here. We're already in that process. And it's like we go back to like, okay, when you go on a ship, you can't take your beer, your drugs, your alcohol, your hot cars, all that stuff has to stay. Getting past that concept of not being able to take that.
All that takes an experience in life when you had to walk away from everything. I've already had that.
Yeah, it's great to know that doesn't tie you, bind you.
Not be attached to stuff.
Yeah, just going through the process. That's good.
I lost a lot of pictures I wish I hadn't lost, but
right.
Anyway, someone made this comment. When the moon disappears forever and the sun shines electric blue, when the mountains and trees tumble into the seas to rest there for eternity, no matter what you do, I will still love you. Oh, okay. Well, I thought there was a question in there, but there isn't. So, I've got a question for you though, Jenny. I want to ask this. We have reincarnated numerous times, and every time we've had our memories wiped, right?
Right.
Now, those memories are still within our bodies. Is that correct?
So
Within the fluid, I mean,
it is
in the DNA,
within,
wherever it's stored in the cells somewhere.
it's stored in the cell, but is connected to the diamonds. And I'm talking about the diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
We're connected to the diamonds, which is connected to source. So, do I have the pictures? Of course. Hold on. I don't know if I do. I got so many drawings that I thought I gave you a picture of the diamonds, but possibly not. Because their source. So I've drawn the diamonds. And I've showed you the diamonds. This is, of course, source, or actually the organic ships that they show me how big they are, how they're going to come in and everything. I don't know where. Sorry, I got books everywhere. I draw a lot. Let me see if I can find one over here. And then this is source. Okay, so this will help. So right back here is his diamond that's connected to us, which is connected to our higher source, which stores like a time capsules of information. And that's why I was describing, they're showing me, when they showed me this, that our higher source is like a library of information. And when ourselves now really align with that, all that memory is coming back. That's what I'm saying. Your abilities, paying attention to your abilities of knowing information where you're like, how do I know this? I don't know why I know this. But when you get that, allowing your mind to accept it and not be in fear of it. So I believe it's almost like a capsule that's being revealed slowly. And our higher self and what we did from our past is slowly downloading back into you. Do you understand?
I think so.
So we know how they say that, we're all connected to source. So I wanted to understand that this diamond back here, here's our pineal gland right here. It's connected to him. And then his eyes are dimensional and everything's a filter of energy. So each person has this diamond that has that higher source of information. So, and I've, in my group, people see theirs, and that's always shown in the sunlight. It's not that big, but what you're paying attention to is how information is changing, how you're downloading information, how you're remembering things. And each person's at a different understanding and interpretation of that. It's not going to be the same as each other's. You're going to have different experiences. That's why I say your spiritual communication, your language is different from each individual. That's why I never understood how a spiritual teacher can teach one class, but they are teaching it at their level and the way it came in from them. You have to teach it in a level that works for that person, or they're going to miss the boat. So the thing is if you sat in silence and moved all this out and stayed in that quietness of nature and said to yourself, I want my higher self to connect with my past. And I'm okay with understanding that information. I think you might be surprised at what you get.
Distracted there. I got distracted there for a minute. This is interesting. Wide Awake says it's said Earth will become uninhabitable due to the Earth events. The reason for the Exodus so Earth can rejuvenate approximately 3 years. The
Yeah.
motherships hold 500,000 each. I've heard different figures, but that's. Would you agree with that, or most of it, or?
Well, they're not allowing humans to stay here. They're bringing in universal beings to rejuvenate this world in a different way. Um, as humans, we don't look at things and, singular. You want to look at this, look at the way we look at animals. Do you understand? We took in their room, their water, where they live, and the stress that carries alone with nature. And the way that can heal is removing the problem, because it needs to be balance. It needs to come back to that balance and let it be by itself, let it rejuvenate itself. And they say humans are not going to be here for a long time after that.
Where are we going to be?
Well, there's more planets out there than you think.
Yeah.
I do believe that there is a planet just like ours.
I was just going to say, we got spoiled being here on planet Earth because it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful planets out there.
Right. But look what we've done to it.
But was it really us? Was it really the people, or was it the cabal who have hoodwinked us? And
okay, so if you go down the street, the cabal is not telling you to throw the trash on the side of the street. They're your common sense is telling you to put it in the trash. They're telling you to walk on the beach and want to clean something up. Do you understand? It's the mindset.
Yeah,
our planet needs a break from us. To regrow, to be clean again, to be balanced again. All that matters is, can you imagine if it had that break of 10, 15 years of how much better it's going to be?
Yeah. Will we be coming back then? Or I guess that'll be a matter of choice at that point.
Well, I think we'll have a free will at that choice to decide at that time of our agenda or what we will be doing for the universe at that time.
Okay, let me see if we got any more questions here. Well, people are really in need of some kind of positive change. I mean, humanity has been under siege for the longest time.
Well, it's just like these ships, everything that you need is in these ships, these organic ships. They have everything. It's like a city. But everything is balanced, everything is shared development, shared community. And when it's like that, I mean, it's not something that you're going to have a hard time accepting, I think when we get to that point, you have to understand as a human conscience, can you imagine not having stress ever? And knowing that one to the other would, work and support together.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to change people drastically, just not having the stressors that were put on us by the cabal and the living standards and the things. I mean, it seemed like, speaking of being clean, just from my own, from what I've seen, from different groups that I've worked with and stuff, as people get poorer and poorer, it's assumed that they're just lazy and they're not cleaning up their place, or they're not doing this, that, or the other. Most of the time, it's they just don't have the resources to do it.
Right.
And after a while, it's like, oh, I just give up, kind of thing. So,
but you look at nature, look at animals, the way they don't waste stuff. Do you understand how they consume another animal or how they survive. We're horrible on those habits, and we're spoiled, and it's not right anymore.
Well, if people would see how cattle are kept in feedlots,
Okay.
and then fed out on GMO corn, and and chickens, what they do to chickens, and they grind up the little baby. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible, and people think, I don't know, they have such disregard for an animal's life. I think that's an area that, I mean,
And
not
that's what I'm
everybody.
saying. They don't have the conscience of going into that, feeling that, interpreting that. If there's a scene in the movie Powder, well, how he allows a man that killed a deer to feel the pain and the suffering. If humans could understand what they're going through, I think they would look at it different.
They just think animals don't have any feelings.
I know.
I don't see how they can think that, but they do.
Yeah. So
What the heck? I tried to, wait a minute. There was a question. I thought I tried to bring it up. It came in. I'm going to just ask you about people in the truth community that have and are false light. Are you aware? I mean, I don't know if it's a good idea to name names, but.
oh, I don't have a problem. So this is the thing. This way that truth or community, um, the ones that have been diligent, I'm telling 20 years, same with the spiritual. It's all comes together of finishing something that we're reside to finish for humanity. But you see these new people since the shepherd was in the White House come on and seeing it as a money train. And I tell people, you want to know their intentions, look at their sponsors.
I was doctors should have to wear their white coats, should have to put Pfizer, Modexis,
right?
BioX.
So, I think they keep you busy, but what I don't like is I think their documentation should follow the verification. When they just move on to another subject and they expect you just to forget about that. You have to keep them accountable for what they say and recall that information. That's the thing about it. And the real truther ones, they don't have 1 million followers. Some of them don't even have 5,000 followers. But the ones they're in there doing that blood, sweat, and tears day and night, and they're not trying to occupy you or entertain you. They're just trying to get you the true information. And am I disappointed in a lot of them? Yes. But do I believe there's a lot that are doing the work and they're not those limelighted people. They're right under that layer. And if you look right under that layer, you'll see some people that are truly doing it. So there's a top level of it. If you go down below that lower level of it, you might get some really good perception information. So that's how I feel about it.
I was just telling someone in the chat, just asked if the I don't know if I should say this or not, if the Queen was well, we use the name Geico for a reason, so that should answer your question.
Oh, yeah, Geico.
Geico.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see. Is there anything else that you can think of? We're coming up on an hour and a half, so we can probably wrap this up.
Okay. Just the only thing that I can tell you right now is if you can do anything to make yourself better, turn off the TV.
Turn off the TV. Huh?
Turn
Yeah.
off the TV because there's going to be more
Yes.
brain control, more confusion, and stick to the people that you reside with, that you feel that you're hearing the truth with, and start to work on yourself, and go to source and ask questions, and don't be afraid of it. What people think is if you get the answer back, that's all that matters. Because you look back, if you've done that and looked at yourself and know that you tried to do the best you can each day, you're going to be proud of yourself. But if you turn the door on it and you didn't pay attention and you ignored it, you're going to be disappointed in yourself.
Very
So,
disappointed.
right. So yeah, I think we're at a point that people have made their choice of where they want to be and what they want to believe. And so the rest of us have to just keep going to that next step and moving towards the light and bringing as many as we can with us.
And again, shine your light so bright that it can help others find their way out of the dark.
Right. True.
And I always like to add, purify your thoughts, words, and deeds at this time. Be kind, show kindness to others. And every day you have the opportunity to make somebody smile. That's a random act of kindness. And sometimes people look at you like, why are you smiling at me? You know, like, I mean, and that's the sad, that's kind of sad that we've gotten to that point, you know, that we just need to show kindness and consideration to everyone and show people respect and that does, you know, that deserve it. And everybody would be happy.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
If they slowed down and really paid attention. I think that's what it is, slowing down and not going by what society demands of you and just running you into the ground. Slow back, step away, and observe it.
Oh, like, thank you. Too easy to get triggered by the news. You shouldn't even be listening to the news, really, because they're just lying to you anyway.
Right.
That's unless you want to know what they're saying. I mean, that's one thing, but if it's triggering you, I would highly recommend you just don't even watch it because they're not telling the truth yet anyway. Let's see, there was something else in here I wanted to. Oh, okay. Joe Blow, thank you for that. Give us a thumbs up. It is free. It doesn't cost a thing. Neither does it cost anything to subscribe or to ask for the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter. I do the best I can to bring people on like Jenny and others that are doing their best to tell the truth as they know it. And we just keep plugging away as things change.
Right. So if people are searching to understand things or are confused by that, you know, I don't mind leading people in that direction or trying to answer their questions. I do have a signal group that I have amazing people in there that will explain it to you because they are well advanced in that path of where they're at. And then there's my website and my information.
We have your website. It'll be in the description, but I don't have your signal group. You might want to send that to me and I can add it to the description in the video.
Yeah, that, and then also my YouTube's on the website too. So pretty much everything's connected to the website.
Oh, okay. So if they just go to your website, they have access to everything. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that's Jenny's site.
.net.
.net. Oh, .net, not .com. .net. Okay. All right. Well, unless you have something else to say, I think we can call it a wrap.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thank you so much for your time and your energy and sharing the information that you get from Spirit. Very much appreciated. And
you're welcome. So the only thing I would say is don't watch the Geico's funeral. Don't give it the time and the attention it does not need.
It certainly doesn't deserve it.
Mm-mm.
My goodness, if you saw what happened or what those. Anyway, I've seen more than I'd like to see. So,
Right.
okay. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Jenny.
Bye, hon.
Bye.
We'll stay.